Okay, so one of the most important Senate races is taking place in Pennsylvania, where the Republican candidate is Dr. Oz, and he is taking on the Democratic candidate in John Fetterman. Now, Oz has been seen as someone who isn't necessarily the best candidate, at least from the Republican perspective, and he's sort of been targeted as someone who has lived in and still actually owns a home in New Jersey, yet for some reason he's running for Senate in Pennsylvania. So they're saying, why are you running for Senate in Pennsylvania? Where pretty much your whole life you've lived in New Jersey, you have your house in New Jersey, and periodically you're actually in Pennsylvania living in that house. And so recent polling has actually shown Fetterman up by a margin as large as 13 points back on August 25th, and as low as 4 on the exact same date. And the current seat is held by Republican Pat Toomey, who is stepping down this year. That's why we now have Dr. Oz running for the Republican seat. So it's not exactly a stronghold Democrat state, being that we currently have a Republican holding that seat in Pat Toomey. So it pretty much makes this large of a margin for Fetterman pretty surprising. Now, not only that, but Fetterman has actually said some pretty wild stuff in the past. For example, he would like to release 1/3 of inmates from prison and also get rid of life sentences for murderers, rapists, and other extreme criminal offenders, which I really don't know who could get on board with that. So here is former President Donald Trump campaigning for Dr. Oz, basically saying that the goal of getting as many criminals out onto the streets as quickly as possible is just pretty much completely ludicrous. Watch.
Through his position on the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons, Fetterman has released a record number of dangerous criminals back onto the streets, many of which have created horrible, just atrocious crimes. He supports setting loose 1 out of every 3 inmates in your prisons, and he bragged that his goal is to get as many criminals out onto the street as quickly as possible. Fetterman supports taxpayer-funded drug dens and the complete decriminalization of illegal drugs, including heroin, cocaine, crystal meth, and ultra-lethal fentanyl.
I was on a panel with our director of corrections, and he said something that I agree with, and is that we could release 1/3 of our inmate population and not make anyone less safe.
If you had a magic wand and you could wave it and fix one thing, what would it be?
Life without parole in Pennsylvania. We could save billions in revenue long term. We could save thousands of lives and not make anyone less safe. And also expunge as many permanent records of people that have been living their best lives and have been paying well beyond when they should have for a charge that they caught, 10, 15, 20 years ago.